Okay, now we are recording. Yeah, so with a little bit of a delay of 7 minutes now, we are still very excited, very happy to welcome so many of you here who are interested in our program in the Bachelor of European Studies. And today I would like to give a short presentation of the program with the general information that you might need, whether you have already applied or you are planning to apply or you're just interested in our program. And afterwards, we'll give you also some time and space for the questions that you might need. But I would prefer to keep the questions for the second half of this session so that we can first focus on the most important information, and very likely many of your questions will already be answered by the presentation. So as many of you probably already know, the Bachelor of European Studies is a joint degree. We are the first European fully joint degree that exists under the framework of European University Alliance called UNO-Europa. At this moment, UNO-Europa has 11 members, 11 universities that are part of it. And 9 of these universities actually already work together for the Bachelor of European Studies. Out of these 9 universities, they can be divided into 2 main groups, and this is something that is already very important for you to know. We have degree awarding universities and we have mobility universities in our program. The degree awarding universities are Alma Mater Studiorum Università di Bologna, KU Leuven, where we are calling in from, Universitat Complutense de Madrid, and Jagiellonski University in Krakow in Poland. So these are the 4 universities where all of you who are going to be in the program are going to start your studies. So everyone who is admitted, who is enrolled now in September, beginning of October 2024, will be allocated to one of these 4 universities. Afterwards, throughout the 4th, 5th, and the 6th semesters, the mobility partners also come into play, and these are the universities, the 6 universities that you can see on the slide, where you might be able to follow one of the majors or minor specializations that they offer. I will give a bit more information on this later, but before we go to more into detail on the program, a couple of general notes on the Bachelor of European Studies. It is, as I mentioned, a joint degree. The fact that it is joint means that you graduate. Sorry, I need to mute to mute everyone who joins because it's a bit disturbing. So once you are in our program, it is a joint degree, and you graduate with a degree that is issued by 4 universities. So regardless where you start, at the end of the program, you graduate with. Sorry, could you mute yourself, please? Okay, I will mute. Yeah. Okay, back to the program. So it is a joint degree. It is a 3-year-long bachelor studies program. It is 180 ECTS. This is a very basic information. This is also very often the case for many other programs, so that doesn't make our program very special. However, there are a couple of features that do make us special. And first of all, we are a fully international program. This means that not only our students are coming from all over the world, but we are also teaching at different countries. We are, as I mentioned, 9 universities now working together, and 4 universities are the start universities. So even if you are a Belgian, you still might start the program either in Bologna, Madrid, or in Krakow. At this moment, from the international perspective, might be interesting. At this moment, this year we have 50 nationalities, students from 50 different nationalities studying together only in the first year. In the second, it's a bit less, but it's still a very, very diverse group. So we see that we are a program that is very attractive to people who are interested in this international experience, who are interested in diversity, who are interested in multiculturalism, and we believe that we cater to those requirements very well with our program. The other feature that is quite unique for us is also that we are a multidisciplinary and multilingual program. What it means is that we, throughout this program, you don't only study European studies, but you're also learning about different disciplines, which I will mention a bit earlier. And afterwards, you also you improve your knowledge in one of 7 disciplines as a major and one of the other one of 7 disciplines in the minor. Finally, we believe that our program also offers tailor-made academic and transversal learning objectives, because we work with, as I mentioned, with many different disciplines and many different perspectives, and we believe that our program has something to offer for most of the students, or all of the students who are studying with us. All right, if this is still interesting for you, you might be wondering what is European studies, and that's quite a difficult topic to define, because the European studies is a multidisciplinary field in itself. So that already creates a bit of a challenge with defining it. But one of the most important features is that we are indeed focusing on Europe. So if you believe that, if you are one of the people who is fascinated by Europe, both as a geographical, political, cultural, historical entity, this is something that we definitely cover in the program in depth. We don't only look at Europe from the current perspective, we also look at it from the past, from the perspective of where we are going, looking even into the future. So this is something that is very prominent in our program, because we are European studies. We do bring also a lot of global perspectives. We look at how Europe engages with the rest of the world, and in the major and minor specialization, it's also possible that you have courses that have wider than European spectrum. However, if Europe is not something you're interested in, it is most likely not a program for you. So be warned that Europe is a very prominent feature and prominent theme of our program. If it is something that interests you, we also have a couple of other features that might be attractive. As I mentioned, you also learn different disciplines. So at the beginning, at the first 2 semesters, there are 5 disciplinary introduction courses that are compulsory for all students. So you have introduction to history, introduction to politics, introduction to law, introduction to economics, and introduction to philosophy, and that's compulsory for all students. So even if you are not really interested in one of those 5 disciplines, you still have to learn the introduction to it. Afterwards, we offer 7 different disciplines for the major and the same 7 for the minor, and then you select the disciplines that are more interesting for you. Finally, our program is also attractive to those who, in the future, for their career perspectives, would like to work not only in the organizations of the European Union, but also international organizations, national public services. Diplomacy is also something that is very, very attractive to our graduates. And there is not really a limit to what you can do with this program. We always highly recommend to do a master afterwards, because if the sectors we are mentioning are some of the sectors that are attractive to you, it is very likely that you will be advised to do a master afterwards to increase your chances on the market, on the job market. So if you this is the question we get very often, where our graduates work. We don't know yet, because we are a new program. We are only in our 2nd year. We have only 2 cohorts of students. So at this moment, we don't have graduates yet. If you are someone who's not applying for this year, or maybe applying for the next year, we will have more information in the future. At this moment, we don't know yet, but we hope that we are providing our students with enough skills for them to be competitive on the job market. Right, now moving to the structure of the program, we do have a very specific structure that is quite important to understand. And generally speaking, our program can be divided into three different elements, 3 different parts. the Truncus Communis, the specializations, major and minor, and the bachelor thesis. Moving to the Truncus Communis, these are the first 3 semesters of the program. And I would like to make it very, very clear that this is very important to understand how our program is put together and to understand how the semesters are working. So the first 3 semesters, all students remain at their respective start university. So it's either in Leuven, Bologna, Madrid, or Krakow. And this is applicable for all students. And this is a requirement. You cannot really move between semester one or two, semester 2 or 3. You are expected to remain at the start university for the first 3 semesters of the program. During these first 3 semesters, there is a set of courses that we are teaching, and all of these courses are mandatory. So in the first 3 semesters, the only choice between the courses that you have is the choice of a foreign language. So here on this slide, you can see all the courses that we have. So everything that is on this slide is compulsory for all students to take in the first 3 semesters. The only choice that you have is one of the foreign languages. The languages that we offer, there are 6 languages we offer. Spanish, French, and German are also offered on 2 different levels, intermediate and beginners. Dutch, Polish, and Italian are only offered as beginner level. Another feature of the Truncus Communis that is very important is that all these courses that you can see here, they are taught for all students at the same time simultaneously. This implies that students in the first 3 semesters have quite some number of online sessions. We are very open about this. We would like to make it. We always make it very clear that if you believe that online teaching is an issue for you, if you would prefer not to have online teaching in your program throughout your 3 years of studies, for example, then this program is not for you. And we like to really highlight that there is online teaching and there will always be online teaching in the first 3 semesters. What we are trying to do, we are trying to decrease the number of online sessions so that we can have more on-campus seminars. However, in every of the first 3 semesters, there will be a significant number of online sessions. These sessions are taught for all students, and they are taught by international teams of professors. For example, if you have a course, European Cultures and Societies, in the first semester of the first year, this is a course that is coordinated by the University of Krakow. However, the professors from Bologna, Madrid, Leuven, Krakow, Edinburgh, I think, are all teaching in this course. So the way this course is structured is it's in thematic blocks. So the block number 1 is taught from Bologna, block number 2 is taught from Madrid, and so on. But all students in Madrid, Bologna, Krakow, and Leuven have to follow this course at the same time. And the only way for us to do it is to have this as an online course. So I hope this is clear. And we do not get questions about the online teaching later in the future if you are in the program, because we always try to warn everyone that there will always be online teaching in the first 3 semesters, because that's the only way to move with a joint degree. The good thing is, even if you are not a big fan of online teaching, it's not prominent in the first half of your program, because in semesters 4, 5, and 6, you are doing specializations. You're doing a major of 60 ECTS in semester 4 and 5, and you're doing a minor of 18 ECTS in semester 6. In semester 6, you're also combining it with a bachelor thesis. During your major, you also have an option to do an internship. This is an optional internship. This is an internship for credits. However, we do not have a database of companies or organizations where you can work. So if you are interested in internship, it is fully your own responsibility to find it. If you are not interested in internship, that's also not an issue. You just follow a full 60 CTS major specialization. For the specializations, we are working with 7 different fields. So we are offering specializations in law, politics, international relations, sociology, communication, and education, business and economics, philosophy, history, languages, and culture. These specializations are offered both as majors and minors. However, they offer a difference between universities. So here you can see the overview of all the specializations and all universities that offer these specializations. It is very important to mention that you can never follow your major at your start university. So for example, if you are starting in Bologna, it means that all of the majors that are offered by the University of Bologna are excluded for you. This will never be an option. You are always obliged to leave your start university after the first 3 semesters. For the minor, there is flexibility. You might be able to return to your start university. You might be able to do it at the same university as where you have done your major, or you might do it even in a third university, because as you can see, there are a couple of universities, which is Berlin and Helsinki at this moment, that only offer minors. So the students who are going to do the minors offered there, they will be studying at 3 universities. And we believe that this is also quite a big advantage of our program, because it gives you a chance to study minimum two and maximum 3 different universities. It is also important to mention that some of the specializations are offered in foreign languages. For example, the specializations in Paris are all in French, even if some courses might still be offered in English in specific specializations. It is obligatory for students who want to go to Paris to be able to provide a certificate of B2 level of French. The same applies to Berlin. Students who want to follow a minor in Berlin have to be able to speak B2 in German. And there is also a language application for the University of Zurich, but not for every specialization. German is required for, Nikki, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's politics and not law, politics and
history. It's also mentioned on the slide.
Yeah,
but
I have a very small. Yeah, I have a very small version of the slides. Yeah, so the specializations in politics and history at University of Zurich. There you have to be able to speak B2 of German. The specialization in philosophy and law in Zurich are offered in English. And one final language requirement, I think, is for the major in philosophy at Complutense in Madrid. So there you also need to be able to speak Spanish on B2 level, because some of the courses are offered in Spanish. Now, if speaking about mobility, I think it's a very often we have the question, how are students allocated to the mobility destinations? And this is a very good question, and it's something that is very important for us to indeed mention. We can never guarantee that you will be allocated to your first preference. So those of you who have already applied, or those who are interested in applying, have probably already seen our Start University and Mobility form. So everyone who is applying for the program has to fill it out, and you have to indicate 3 preferences. 3 preferences for the Start University, 3 preferences for the major university and specialization, and 3 preferences for the minor university and specialization. And then our selection committee tries to put all of this together, tries to put this horrible puzzle together, and tries to allocate students to their preferences. Why we are asking for the 3 preferences? Because you can be allocated to any of the 3, and it's because we have limited number of spaces. So not every specialization that you can see now on the screen is unlimited. Some of the specializations have more places, some are more limited. So for example, if you are looking at this program and you want to apply for the Bachelor of European Studies because you want to go to Paris, then I will be very blunt with you, and I will tell you that this is not a program for you. Because if you want to study in Paris, then please apply to Paris. If you want to study at the University of Edinburgh, please apply there, because these are very popular destinations that many of our students want to go to, and these are very competitive, and there is no guarantee that this will be the allocated specialization or destination for you. So we would like to make it as clear as possible that all the students who are in our program, we expect a certain level of flexibility. We expect openness to different specializations and different destinations, because we believe that the international experience that you're going to get, regardless of the destination, is something that is the main feature of this program. Also, we give a priority more to the specialization rather than the destination, because we believe that whether you study law, it doesn't influence as much where you do it, but it has much more influence what you do for your future. So if you would put, for example, law in Paris as your first preference and law in Madrid as your second preference, and we assign you to law in Madrid, and then we get a complaint from you saying, no, I want to do law in Paris, this is not a sufficient complaint for us to even look into it, because we believe that the specialization has much more relevance for your future career and for your future studies. So I'm not being very friendly here, but we are really trying to make this as clear as possible, that we avoid any disappointments later in the future. That it's also all of this is also explained on our website, so we really highly recommend you to read it carefully, so that we don't have the situations as we have had in the past, where students only set their hopes on studying a major in Paris and a minor in Helsinki, and then this was not the allocation they got, and they had to drop out from the program. So please don't make these mistakes. Please make sure that you are considering different options and you realize how this program works and how this program is put together. Now, the final part of the program is your bachelor thesis. This is something that is quite common. It's not a specific feature for our program, but it's expected that all students at the end write a bachelor thesis either on the topic of their major specialization or on the European Studies broad topic. For the bachelor thesis, you're not left behind. You have supervisors, but you also have continuously throughout the program, in the first 3 semesters, you have courses that lead you towards doing research. So this is research track 1, research track 2, and quantitative and qualitative studies methods. These are the courses that already prepare you to do research later in the 3rd year, but these are the courses you follow in the first 3 semesters. All right. Oh, that's it. Okay, so after all of this, if you are still not intimidated by our program, and if you still believe that this is the right program for you, it's important to highlight that we are a selective program. We have very strict admission requirements. Our admission requirements also change every year. So here on the slides, you can find the most recent ones. I can say what is on the website are the correct admission requirements. So sometimes we get emails saying, oh, last year the requirements were different. Well, last year they were indeed different, but now these requirements apply. So for everyone who would like to start in September 2024, these are the requirements. So one of the main documents that you need to have by the time that you are starting in the program is your degree. So I will not go into each type of degree. I would recommend you to read it on our website in your time. One thing that is important to mention is if your secondary studies degree is issued outside of the European Union, then you need to sit an SAT or ACT test, and you need to have the results of your test by the application deadline of the 1st of April. So this is important to mention. The IB students are excluded from this requirement, even if their IB degree is issued outside of the European Union. So I know that we also very often get a question that you will not have your degree, you will not have the diploma by the 1st of April, and that's fine. This is the only exemption that we have. If you don't have your diploma by the 1st of April, you only need to submit your transcripts by the 1st of April, the most recent transcripts, and afterwards, once you have your diploma, you just add it to your application, and this can be after deadline. That's the only exception for a late document that we have. So if you don't have your diploma, that's perfectly fine. That's the idea. So make sure that you have your most recent transcript to replace your diploma with temporarily until you have it. Now, the second very, very important requirement that we have is the English proficiency certificate, and this one is compulsory for everyone, except for those students who have done their studies fully in English in an English-speaking country of the inner circle. And the countries of the inner circle are included. It's Australia, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, United Kingdom, and the US. So if you have done your studies, secondary degree studies or higher education studies from one of these countries, and your degree will be issued by one of these countries, then you're exempted from from the English language proficiency. If you have done your studies in English at any of the other countries, you are not exempted. So even if you have done an IB program in English, but it was in France, for example, you still need to do English proficiency test. And our requirements are a little bit higher than the general KU Leuven ones, especially for the sub-scores. So you can see it on the slide. It is important that not only your total score is not below the requirement, but also your sub-score. If one of the, for example, for IELTS, if one of your 5 sub-scores is, I think it's 4 sub-scores, is below 5.5, even if your minimum, if your overall score is 6.5, but one of the sub-scores is below that, you will not be considered. So please make sure that all the language requirements are on this level. Don't send us emails asking for exemptions, because we do not grant these exemptions. There is no even reason to ask. Everything that is on the website is the requirement. It's the final requirement, and and we don't give any leeway, because as I mentioned, we are a very strict program. We have to be selective because we have hundreds and hundreds of applications every year, and otherwise we just simply cannot select students if we're not being strict enough. Right, other documents. So it doesn't stop with the degree, with the secondary degree and the language proficiency certificate. We also have a couple of other requirements. So the first thing that you need to check out when you're looking into our program is the core documents for the application. So one thing I forgot to mention, even though it is a joint degree, you have to apply through KU Leuven, because we are the coordinating institution of this program. So you have to apply through the KU Leuven system. It's on our website. The link to the online application form is there. And KU Leuven has a set of core documents that are required for every applicant. And these documents are on the general KU Leuven website. I can briefly tell you, it includes a motivation letter, it includes a CV, your transcripts, and your passport. So the requirements that are mostly the same for every program. Then we have a couple of specific documents that only our program expects, and these are also quite important, because these are the documents that define whether you would be selected for this program or not. So the quality of these documents is very important, because these are the documents that the selection committee really looks carefully at. So the quality is going to be definitive for the status of your application. So the first one is the academic reading and writing assignment. The assignment is already on our website. There is a short text that you have to read. There is also a website that you have to look through, and you have 5 questions that you need to answer. Your answer should be between 500 and 750 words, and it's around 1 paragraph per question. For this, you can already work on the writing assignment now. As I mentioned, it is on our website, so you can already read it. There is no time limit. As long as you submit it by the 1st of April, by the deadline, it's fine. So you can work on it as long as you would like. Once your assignment is done, you also have to record 2 videos. So the first video is explaining your assignment. We are requiring the videos to replace interviews, because, as I mentioned, we work with a lot of with a lot of applications. So the videos already give us an impression of who we are working with. So the videos are also yeah, absolutely necessary to be quite yeah, on a good quality. I can based on the videos we have already received, I can tell you, please take this seriously. The video has possibly more impact that you might think. So the videos we are looking quite strictly at. So the first video is the explanation of your reading and writing assignment. The second video is your motivation. So you do have to write a motivation letter, which is one of the core documents, but you also have to record a motivation video. So you can either summarize your motivation letter if you would like, or you can add more things that you didn't have a chance to mention in your motivation. That's fine. So there is, even if there is overlap between the motivation video and the motivation letter, it's not an issue, because the motivation video gives us shows us a different set of qualities than the motivation letter, because that is purely text, but the video also shows how you can speak, how you can present yourself, and this is something that that plays quite a big role. Finally, as I mentioned, we also have the Start University and Mobility form, which everyone has to fill out. That's how we allocate you. Once all the applications are in, we start distributing the students after the deadline for their Start University and for their preliminary major allocations. So make sure that you fill out the form correctly and you upload it by the 1st of April. Yeah, this is just the information that I've just mentioned, that is repeated. It's very, yeah, I already said that, but it's important that you realize that we cannot guarantee that you'll be assigned to your first preference. So if you are, for example, a Belgian student who only wants to start at KU Leuven, then you might consider a different program, because while there is a chance that you will start at KU Leuven, there is also a chance that you will start at one of your other two preferences. So even if you put KU Leuven as your first preference, you have to indicate to other universities, for example, Bologna and Madrid, and you can be allocated to those two other universities. So make sure that this is the reality that you accept. This is the something that might happen, and that you are comfortable with it with this to happen, because we know that moving, for example, if you're 18, which most of our candidates are, moving to a different country might be quite a challenge. So there is always a chance that you will have to do it already at the start of the program, and there is absolute guarantee that you will have to do it after the 3 semesters. And we now already have students who are not feeling comfortable with that, and there is, in this program, it's obligatory. Our mobility is mandatory. So make sure that this is something that you are comfortable with, that your family is comfortable with, so that you are making the correct choice for your future. Finally, the tuition fees are also mentioned on the slides. They vary between the EEA and non-EEA candidates and students, which is the case for all programs. And the deadline to apply is the 1st of April for all students, all applicants, EEA and non-EEA. And important feature that I have to mention, you need to apply with complete files. So if you are missing any of the documents by the 1st of April, then your application will not be accepted. So make sure that everything there is on the website, everything that we are requiring, is in order, is full, is completed by the 1st of April. Even if this is a English language proficiency, if you don't have the results by the 1st of April, you will not be considered. So this is quite important note to take from this presentation. If you are only looking at this program for the first time now, and now you're very interested, make sure that you are on time, because with everything that you have to arrange, it's quite a lengthy process. So make sure that that you have everything by the 1st of April. Okay, I see that there are a lot of questions that pop up in the chat, but I think I keep seeing the same question coming back about the English proficiency requirement for students who have studied in English. I cannot repeat this enough, but as I mentioned, the only exemption is for students whose degree is issued by an English-speaking country of a inner circle. That's it. You can ask us 50 more times, but the answer will remain the same. Everyone else has to sit an English proficiency test, even if the secondary studies have been done in English in a non-English speaking country. All right. I feel like I might have been not very friendly this presentation, but it's very important for us to really highlight that our program has a couple of features that distinguish it from different programs, and that we are quite strict in the selections and in our deadlines and our requirements, and it's for everyone's benefit to make sure that we are on the same page and that everyone is informed. If you want to get more information, you have the contact points on this slide. We are, as I mentioned, the KU Leuven team is the leading team. So we are 4 people at KU Leuven who work on this program. But every START university also has their respective team. So if you are interested in more information for the University of Bologna, Krakow, or Madrid, you can also contact our colleagues there directly via the respective BAS mail address. Okay, that's it from me. We are now open for the questions. I don't know, Nikki, how is the chat doing? Is there still a lot to answer?
Almost through all the questions, I think, except for 2. Someone asked whether it's mandatory. Since it's mandatory to go on mobility, do I need to apply for at least 2 different visas during study as a non-EEA citizen? That depends on your residence permits you will receive at one of the START universities. Because if you have a residence permit of one of the START university countries, then you should be able to go on mobility throughout the 3 years of the program, except when you're going to Edinburgh or Zurich. Then you would probably need an additional visa, indeed. The tuition fees are the same for everyone. If you have some kind of scholarship, then we would need to look that up for you, whether you get a reduction or something, but that's only in special circumstances that there is a reduction. The expiration time on English proficiency tests depend on the test. So you would have to look that up on the web pages of the test center where you've taken your English test. And I think are all the first year online courses? I already answered that question. In the first 3 semesters of the program, it is a mix of online, hybrid, and on-campus education. So all students are expected to remain at their START university for 3 full semesters, including the exam periods, of course, because you will all have exams taken on campus. The acceptance rate depends on the quality of your application file that I answered a few times as well. Is it possible to contact one of you to update my mobility form? Of course. Can you provide more information about the accommodation and housing? On the homepage of the Bachelor of European Studies, you can find a link to the housing services where you can click on the university you're interested in, and there you can be directed to the housing services of that university. when are the uni allocations announced? By the beginning or middle of June. So it still takes a month and a half, no, 2 months, 2 months and a half before we have gone through all applications and before you will know where you will start and whether you are admitted. There are no scholarships in place from the program, but as I said before, sometimes certain countries have scholarships in place for students with special circumstances. You will already know where you will be going to for your major at the start of your first year. For the minor, we only allocate the specializations at the start of year 2. So at the beginning of the 3rd semester, you will know your entire mobility trajectory. Do we also accept retake tests like IELTS? If you have to retake the IELTS test, you need to reach the minimum scores required to enter our program. I hope that's your question. So the publication of application results middle June at the latest. How many percent is online, Olga, in the first 3 semesters? It depends.
Yeah,
In the
it
3rd
changes.
semester, it's mainly online, so I think it will be 70, definitely 80, maybe 80-20. But for the first 2 semesters, the first semester is the one with the most on-campus classes, so there it will be the other way around. And then the second semester is currently 60-40, maybe. I think something like that. Once you upload the video pictures, do you have to take a screenshot of it and include it into the application? I uploaded it a couple of days ago, but I did not take the screenshot on time. Should I re-upload it? Normally, you should have been uploading a Word document in which you put the links or the titles of
No,
your video pictures.
it's the screenshot, but
Okay.
you will not be able to send in your application because in the application, one of the required documents is the 2 screenshots of the successful upload. So I assume you haven't sent your application yet because it would simply not be considered as full. If you have not taken a screenshot, you can still re-upload. We will just remove your old video, but I assume it will be the same one. So you can re-upload. It's fine. It's not an issue.
Will I know if I'm admitted at all to the program before the middle of June? Well, if you are being rejected, you might know it sooner. If you are being accepted, it will probably only be mid-June. How many hours of class do we have per week? That's very different, and it also differs year from year. So we can't say that, but most of the time, most of the days, you will have classes, sometimes an entire day, sometimes a few hours a day. It differs a bit from semester to semester. How many people start a Bachelor European Studies? Last year we had 250 students. This year we have 400 students, but as we said, it depends on the quality of the application files coming in. Yes, the diploma, because you were interrupted apparently, Olga, when you were telling something about the diploma. We are a joint degree. So the diploma will be issued by the 4 degree awarding partners, which are also the 4 START universities. So on the diploma, there will be a signature from KU Leuven, from Bologna, from Madrid, and from Krakow on it. And then all the logos as well, of course, from the other partners involved, but no signatures. There are exam arrangements and educational arrangements for students with a recognized disability status. but it has to be, or you have to undergo the procedure at your start university. So if you had a recognized status in high school, this doesn't count anymore for university. You would have to undergo the procedure again for recognition. Are there quotas according to nationality? No. How many students applied to the program last year? 900? Something
I
like
think
that?
800 something.
Yeah, 850 or
But
something.
last year we didn't have the video
No,
requirements, so I think this year the number will be a bit lower because recording 2 videos is an extra step that I think that will also filter out the applicants who might be less motivated for this particular program.
do I get a confirmation of the uploaded documents to be sure that my application is valid? You can only submit your file when all documents required have been uploaded. So you will receive an error message when submitting if not everything is in order. There is an open day at KU Leuven, but it's unfortunately after the deadline of 1 April. So we will only be present at the Bachelor's Fair at the beginning of September. It's the 7th of September, but that's for applicants for academic year 25-26, so not for the coming academic year. If an English language exam expires by the beginning of June, and we know if we are admitted by mid-June, does the exam have to be retaken? No, we only look at the application deadline. What are the positions after the bachelor's? Normally, after an academic bachelor's degree, you still need to continue with a master's degree. On the homepage under future perspectives, you can see which master's programs can be followed after the Bachelor of European Studies. These are, of course, not all programs, only the ones from our involved partners, but it gives you an idea already what you can do after this bachelor's degree. And as is also mentioned there, I believe it all depends on the admission requirements of the different universities you're interested in for pursuing a master's degree. You will indeed know your start university when you receive a message that you have been admitted. Do you give review priority to non-EEA candidates? No. Is this meeting being recorded? Yes, it will also appear on our website. What is the total of students that can be accepted in the 4 universities? We strive for a maximum number around 300, but as I said, it depends on the quality of the files coming in, whether that number is lower or higher. Is the starting week at KU Leuven or at your own start university? At your own start university. So the welcome week for first year students is coordinated welcome week where you will have on-campus sessions at your start universities to get acquainted with the extracurricular activities mainly and to get to know your teachers at your start university. But we will also have some online sessions for all students regardless of their start university. And these will be organized online, of course, so that everyone can follow from the different start universities. Does your results on your exams have an effect on which specialization you get? No, because we assign the specializations before you're taking exams, but it is true that your results do have an impact on whether you can or can't go on mobility in year 2 and 3 of the program. If you don't have for this year at least, are the students that are currently doing their first year in the program need to obtain a minimum of 75% this year to go on mobility next year. So if you don't reach that threshold, you won't be allowed to leave for your major. We don't work with the first come, first served principle. All applications, regardless of the date they were submitted, are being looked at. Hybrid lessons. Olga, what are hybrid lessons?
Well, that's exactly what they sound like, but it's a combination of online and physical teaching. So one of the most common forms of hybrid education that we have is online lecture and an on-campus seminar. And this is something that we definitely already have in the first semester, and this is also the plan for the third semester. For another form that they can have is if there is an online lecture, but the lecture is being live streamed into a classroom. So the students are still present on campus and they follow the class together without the professor physically present in the classroom, but the students are physically in the classroom. This is, yeah, as I mentioned, this is the only way for us to organize simultaneous teaching of the same courses at 4 different locations.
Thanks. The next question I don't understand completely. It says American universities take demonstrated interest into consideration when reviewing applications, but does this bachelor also considers demonstrated interest? I don't know what demonstrated interest is. You neither, I think.
Yeah, I also have no
Please,
idea.
so please explain it a bit more so that we can give you an answer.
We are
The
clearly
dates,
not an American university because we
yeah,
don't even know what
no.
this is.
The dates for next year are not yet out. We still have to approve them in our academic steering committee. Hopefully, that will be done next week. I'm working on the calendar for next year, and then we will also put them on the website for our new interested students planning to start next year. The academic year itself for first year students starts at the beginning of October, but beforehand you already have orientation days for new incoming or new international students, and also the BAS Welcome Week, which is the week before the start of the academic year. Which part of the application is the most important? All of them. One thing can't go without another, so you definitely have to pay attention to all individual parts of the application. This Q&A session is still being recorded, so also our answers can be reviewed afterwards. How many people are there in a class? Well, we have some courses that are BAS exclusive courses. So there you will only be together with other BAS students, and then it depends on the start university where you're at, how many students will be together. The biggest number of students are currently in KU Leuven and Bologna. There are less students in Madrid and Krakow, so there the groups are smaller. If you're doing the disciplinary introductions, then you can be put together with students from other regular programs, both here at KU Leuven as in the other universities. So then the groups are a lot bigger. Do we get the Erasmus scholarship? There will be partial funding for the mobility in the program, but most of the semesters will have to be funded by you. It also depends on the funding available per start university. So these the money differs from year to year and depends on how many students went on Erasmus the year before. So we can't say now already how long we can fund the mobility. Is the tuition paid at the start university or the one in our country? Tuition fees are paid to KU Leuven. We distribute them afterwards to the other degree awarding partners, but you can request financial aid from your country where you're starting if there are such institutions in place. How many applications have you approximately received? I don't know that
That's also
by heart.
confidential, and we
Yes, we
cannot
can't
really
share
share
that.
this.
I would like to elaborate on what demonstrated interest is. Okay, thanks. It is when universities take into consideration how often a prospective student engages with the university. No, we don't look at that.
And please don't think that you should send us more emails and then
No.
your chances are increased, because this is definitely this is something that I actually never heard of. So I'm
No, me
surprised that this
neither.
is done at some universities, but we don't count how many times you send us an email, because no, absolutely has no influence.
No. Is this program financially associated with any EU institution? No. So we are part of the Una Europa Alliance, but we don't receive any funds to have this program up and running. We only work based on the tuition fees we receive. I think I'm through all of the questions. I don't know whether there are people who want to ask their questions in person. I will open the chat. No, I will open the microphones.
I already did, Nikki. So
Okay, great. So then I'm not missing out on anything.
yeah.
Does the university you do your major and minor in can be a start? Yes, definitely. I already explained it to someone else as well. You always have to indicate at least 2 start universities for both your major and your minor, because there are only very limited spots available at the mobility partners, and we can never guarantee that you will get in at one of the mobility partners. So if you want to indicate only start universities, the better. That's no problem at all. If I have already accredited. You mean exemptions, I assume. So yes, we do allow exemptions. However, all major courses, all minor courses, as well as the internship, the bachelor thesis, and the language courses are excluded from exemptions. So in practice, you will only be able to file for exemptions for the 3 first semesters or the Truncus Communis courses. And then it still depends on whether you passed the subjects, of course, in your previous studies, and whether the content is equivalent to the courses in our program. Well, yeah, for the internships, we do have the option to do an internship at some universities, not all, and only during the major. But it is correct that you have to look for an internship position yourself. So if you want to do an internship and you know what your major will be, you should start looking for an internship position right away, because otherwise you would still have to take up one of the mandatory courses from the major instead of the internship. Even if the courses are in French, is there the possibility to credit them to us? Yes, we would need translations, of course, in English, but if the content is equivalent and you have passing grades for the courses, then you can also be exempted on foreign language courses. No. So I think Olga mentioned that already. So if you are a native Belgian, your chances are not higher of starting in Leuven, because that would not be the goal of our program. We want an intercultural community. And if we put all the Belgians in Leuven with only 2 or 3 international students, that wouldn't be the goal of our program. So we do look at more than only where you're residing at that moment. We also look, or we also try to find a good mix of nationalities, ages, experiences, and so on. So it can be that although you're a Belgian, that you will be located in Krakow to start the program. For the major options, please reread the webpage we made specifically for the start and specialization form, because there it's mentioned what you can indicate and what can't be. You can't indicate 3 times politics. You have to indicate 2 different study fields, because we want students with a broad interest in different fields of study. If you're only interested in one specific field, this program might not be a good choice for you. Then you better do a bachelor in politics instead. In the Complutense, are we in the
it's already answered.
Somosaguas? Okay.
It's Moncloa.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
great.
the faculty.
I didn't know.
The office, the bus office is at the Faculty of Law, and it's Moncloa. Yeah.
Okay, great. Good to know. That's something new for me as well. The BAS program in Belgium is taught mainly in Leuven, but in the first year you will also have 1 course in Brussels, the economics course, which is located in Brussels. For the majors, it depends. Some majors at KU Leuven are located in Brussels and Antwerp, others only in Leuven, others a mix of the 3. The start university is in Bachelor 1 or 2. It's in the first 3 semesters, so the entire first year and the first semester of year 2, and then you move on to your major university, and in your last 6th semester to your minor university. Okay. We have exactly 1 hour. I don't see any new questions coming in. If we go to KU Leuven, we have classes. No. It depends on the major you'll be doing. If your start university is Leuven, you will have 1 class in year 1 in Brussels. All the rest is in Leuven. If you do, for instance, a major in economics in Leuven, then you will also be mainly located in Brussels. If you do the major in politics in Leuven, you will have all classes in Leuven. So it depends on the trajectory you're following. Okay. You won't be prepared to be a future lawyer. That's what we said. If you have a really specific focus, this program is not for you. Then you have to do a bachelor's in law, because with our program, you won't be able to continue to a master's in law specified to be a lawyer. You can do it, but with a very additional trajectory of 2 additional bachelor's years, a preparatory program, and only then afterwards a master's program. So yeah, that will take you much more time than doing a bachelor's in law right away.
Yeah, because this is you graduate with a Bachelor of Arts in European Studies. Even if you do a major in law, this will be mentioned in your transcript, but you will not have a degree in law. This is very important that you graduate with a degree in European Studies.
Yes. Under what situation can you leave your starting uni after? Not except for students doing a major in Edinburgh and have taken up year-long courses. Those are the only students who have to leave sooner, but it's only for a very limited number of students. All the rest is doing 3 semesters in the same START university. Is there a lot of competition in this bachelor among, what do you mean with competition? We have very assertive students, very engaged students, but I can only see that as an upside to the program. So
Yeah, Nikki, not you, Nikki, but the Nikki who's asking the
yeah.
question. Maybe you can unmute yourself and explain a bit, because I also wonder what you mean. I guess not. Yeah,
Well, there is no competition because
because you're
other
not the one
students
deciding
don't
it.
know what you indicated in the
Yeah.
form. We decide who goes where based on the different criteria in place. So other students have nothing to do with it. You will know in the end which fellow students will be going with you to a certain specialization, but then the entire competition has already been done.
Yeah, you can see it not as a competition among students, but
No.
as a puzzle for us.
Yes.
Because once the mobility forms come in, that's on the selection committee to allocate students to different places, and it's quite challenging. But as a student, I don't think you have any influence on that, or where you go, or especially where other students go.
Yes. If you want to do an internship, then you should contact the university where you will be doing your major. So you can only arrange things as soon as you know which major you are allocated to. Do you have to demonstrate your language skills in Spanish to be accepted for the intermediate course? Yes. So for the 3 languages with 2 different levels, there will be a placement test at the beginning of the academic year to decide who can join the intermediate level and who has to stay in the beginner's level. Yes is the answer. The median age of our program, most of our students are 18-year-olds right from high school. We do have some older students, but the majority is 18 years old. No. So once you know if you're accepted to the program or not, if not, you won't get a major minor allocation, of course. But if you are being accepted, we will already give you a preliminary major allocation, but those will only be defined after the start of the academic year, because between acceptance of the in the program and registration enrollment in the program are still a few months in between, and students can still decide to not enroll in the end. So then we still might have to repuzzle a bit where everyone can go to. But you will already receive a first indication of your study field and location. Well, if you want to go to Paris, you indeed need to be doing French. If you have followed a French baccalaureate, then you can indicate that in your mobility form. We will only send students to Paris, to Berlin, to Zurich, to Madrid, where there are language requirements in place, if we can be sure that the students already have the necessary knowledge in that language. When will we know if you are accepted in the program? By the beginning or mid of June. We know that that is late. I don't recall, Olga, whether you said something about it, but You have to indicate 3 out of 4 start universities to start a program, and you won't know until the beginning or mid of June where you will effectively be starting the program if admitted. Mostly universities ask to already apply for housing sooner. So what we advise all of our applicants is to already look for accommodation in the 3 start universities you've indicated, and then you can confirm by the beginning or mid-June which accommodation you want to keep, and the other ones can be cancelled then. But unfortunately, we can't do it sooner. We know that that would be more feasible for you, but it takes a lot of time to go over all applications. Master's programs are available on the website under Future Perspectives. Is it good to be original in the videos? Of course. Is Italian a language you can choose as a second language? And is it beginning or advanced level? You can only choose one language course. If that is Italian, you would have to, no, there are no different levels for Italian, so you will automatically be doing the beginner's level. All right, I think we can shut off the different questions. Most of them have been answered already before and are again available in the recording that will be put on the website as soon as it's available. So take a look at it, whether if you still have questions, and otherwise we are always available by email or by phone, and then you can ask any remaining questions you still have.